Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking this time out to listen. I do want to share with you some information that the Lord downloaded into my spirit when it comes to the internet and how fast people are meeting one another and how fast they're jumping into relationships. There is a book that is out there on the internet that I wrote at this time that I'm recording this message. The book is not complete yet, but it will be. So that's why I'm alerting you to it. And it deals with internet dating. Please do check it out. It will be uploaded on smashwords.com, and in time it will be available in print over on Amazon or CreateSpace. Either way, though, it is crucial for people to understand why we must slow down. People say, I've heard that. I've heard people say, don't move too fast, take your time. But what happens is that when you hear that so much, it falls on deaf ears and you don't take your time. You go ahead and you do things that you really shouldn't be doing. Okay? Procrastinating on the problems is the title of this message, and it does tie into internet dating. It ties into things that you're doing at work or not doing. It ties into areas in your life where you are at conflict with family members, friends. Procrastinating on the problems. Too many people put things off. The elephant is in the room, but you don't feel like talking about it. That's another issue. Part of the reason why people procrastinate on problems is because they don't feel like doing something. Why is it that all five senses have to be in agreement for you to do something? Why is it that someone has to come to you and threaten you and argue and fuss and fight about an issue for you to finally say, okay, I'm going to do something about it? Or some people, they won't. You can come to them and you can talk to them and be nice and offer money and offer, your time and ask other people to get involved and help them out, and still they will not move. Stubbornness is another issue. So this procrastinating on the issues, procrastinating about the problems, all of this stems from someone who has reached a place where they feel like they are God in their life, period. No one else can come. No one else can say. No one else can do. I've got this. I don't need you. I don't need Jesus. I got it. I got it. Even as I say that statement, I got it, it angers me to even hear me say it, because I've heard people say this and they really don't get it. They really don't. Instead, they rather sit in their mess or allow other people to sit right along with them in their mess while they come up with a whole bunch of excuses as to why they won't take care of necessary paperwork. Okay. Folks promising to take care of, legal documents and so forth. And they don't do it, or they put it off. It's 3 months, it's 5 months, it's a year later, it's 5 years later. Finally, somewhere along the line, they'll say, okay, I guess I should do something. But yet everybody around them had to suffer. Everybody around them had to come up with excuses. Some folks had to lie. Some folks had to cover up some stuff because this individual just didn't want to deal with the issues. And so what does that do to your spirit when somebody keeps promising to do something, but then they never do it? You eventually either one, go off about it, right? And then they say, why are you upset? Or two, you end up withdrawing from the person and they say, why is it that, you don't want to come around anymore? Because the issues are still there. Can't you see that? The person tells you, or you tell them. Can't you see that the reason why this relationship is not working out is because something in your mind just won't change? You continue to do the same old, same old. Are you crazy? Are you insane? I mean, really, you don't keep doing the same thing over and over again and think that you're going to get different results. You've got to change. And the person looks at you with a dumb look. And then they want to project their frustration off on you and say that you don't know what you're talking about. And, this is why I don't like having these kind of conversations and all of that. But the problem is still there. Let me give you some wicked examples, okay? Some gross examples, because sometimes people, they just don't get what you're saying. So you got to make it plain. How about you're in a situation where you're at work, you're stressed or what have you. Somebody around you has a cold, right? And then they end up sneezing. And when they sneeze, the mucus from their nose is out there, okay, on their face. But they continue to work and they continue to talk to you. And you go over there and you say to them, excuse me, but are you going to do something about that issue? What issue? The issue that's on your nose. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. And then they proceed to take their hand and wipe it away while they're handling all the papers that you have to touch at some point. Well, of course, you don't want to touch them, which means that you might not get your work done, right? Because somebody decides that they want to not deal with the issue that's on their face. And then when they do deal with it, the mucus is now on their hand. And now all of those germs are being transferred onto all of the office equipment. It's all on the papers. Okay. An issue that all they had to do was walk away from you, accept the fact that, yes, I have a problem, right? Walk away from you and go and tend to the issue. Okay. How about another gross example? How about you walk into a room, right, that you knew was smelling good when you walked in that room, right? But then you find out, though, after a few minutes of being in the room, that somebody who's in there decides that they want to, pass some gas, make the room smell all foul, right? So you say to them, maybe you need to take care of that issue because, I don't want this smell all in my room, or at least go get some spray and spray around, right? And maybe take a bathroom trip because 9 times out of 10, you probably need to go to the bathroom. Oh, the individual, right? They start getting defensive. What are you talking about? I don't have a flatulence problem. Maybe that was you. No, I know it wasn't me. It was you. I wish you wouldn't even go there telling me about my issues. You deal with your own. I'm not the one that's smelling up the room. Oh, here we go. Now you want to go there, huh? You think you're so perfect. Okay. You see? Now, how about another issue? How about, that someone in your family has a problem, right? A private matter that they shared with you. So you give them some insight. You tell them about a doctor that you know or what have you. And then they say, oh, okay, that's some good information. So then you come around them and all you got to do is just look at them and tell that they didn't deal with that situation. Now, some folks may call it a cold. Somebody else may say, well, so-and-so's sick, but they don't really know what the sickness is. But because they told you. And you know that they need to tend to it before it ends up turning into something worse. They claim they're going to do something about it, but yet they still haven't done anything about it. In time, though, that particular problem is going to end up costing some folks some money, some major money, because they will end up on their back. It's going to cause you to possibly miss some days of work because you're going to have to go up there and see about them if this problem gets out of hand. You call yourself trying to help them out by telling them deal with this thing before it gets worse. But they insist on doing something else, or they prayed about it, or it's okay, it's not really hurting me, and it's not really bothering anyone. But over time, it is going to be an issue for all of us, so take care of it. Now, I say all that because when you procrastinate on issues that are within your control, issues that even God himself is telling you to deal with, then it becomes everybody else's situation, everybody else's concern sooner or later. What is in darkness comes out into the light. People have literally robbed themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually in so many different ways because they did not want to address issues. A relationship could have been a quality one, had the potential of being something special, but because someone didn't want to deal with the unresolved mess before they got on the internet, before they got into bed with someone, before they connected with this one and that one, now it becomes everybody's concern. Everybody knows something. Right? Procrastinating on the issues issue should have been resolved, but I wanted this to go my way, quick, fast, and in a hurry. I wanted to meet this person. I know I got a lot of baggage, but it's okay. Hopefully I'll be with someone who's understanding. Matter of fact, let me put that in my dating profile. I need someone who's going to be understanding. Maybe I'll get that person, because everybody got issues and are just going to have to wait that thing out. Isn't that selfish? Isn't that selfish that you know that you got issues that you need to deal with, but you want somebody to be understanding? You want somebody to come into your life and be okay with your drama. They're supposed to sit back and watch you every now and again go over to an ex's house, okay, and meet her needs or his needs. They're supposed to sit back and be okay with the fact that you're not ready to leave this one or take care of this issue or deal with this problem. The boss is supposed to be okay with the fact that you are always late coming to work. He's supposed to be understanding when it comes to your lack of work quality. You're not doing as well as you should. Your work performance is terrible. Just be understanding, bear with me, because I need, you to, just know that I'm on my way. I'll be getting my mind back. I just went through some things. Well, that was like 5 months ago. And I'm supposed to lose profits while you get your mind right. You see? No, I'm not going to be understanding. I have a business to run. And some folks, though, they procrastinate, you see, on issues. They see that there's problems going on. They see that a spouse is unhappy. They see that, a supervisor or manager is not, feeling them, as the street like to say, You're not feeling me. You don't get where I'm coming from. No, what I see is somebody's about to lose their job. What I see is somebody about to lose their marriage. What I see is somebody about to lose their children and everything else, because you see what's going down early on. God shows you. He uses messengers. Yes, the words they say sometimes are cliche. Sometimes you do feel like, oh, here we go again. You're telling me I'm moving way too fast. You're telling me to deal with these issues right now and all this, but I don't feel like dealing with them. Yeah, but your feelings is why you are in the state that you're in. Your feelings is why you're not getting things taken care of. You need to just put aside your feelings and look at facts for what they really are. Your relationship is suffering. Your job performance is suffering. Your children are going through much. Look at the issues for what they really are. Oh, but she'll go away sooner or later, the other parent who has custody over a child says. But maybe that parent isn't going to go away. And maybe that parent is getting to a place where they're saying, I am sick of this. I'm sick of the manipulation. I'm sick of the foolishness. I need for you to deal with this, and this. And you don't need to bring our children into these problems. You see, we got to go deep sometimes, saints. We got to look at everything, not just the Bible. Look at how the Bible will alert you to some things by using all those different stories of those prophets and wayward folk and everything else to show you that every time God wanted them to do something, take, for instance, the Israelites. They always came up with something or, went somewhere else, did something they didn't have any business doing. And then God would just, rain his mercy upon them. And then eventually what would happen? There would be consequences to the sin. And that's where some people are. You may be one of them, or there's people around you that are going through much because they procrastinate. They hold off on doing what they're supposed to be doing. They come up with excuses as to why they're not going to do A, B, and C. But there's a problem. There's something about to go down. Are you sure you want to, just sit back on these issues? Yeah, now that you put it this way, sometimes they don't want to hear from us. Sometimes they got to go through the fire for them to finally realize, yeah, maybe I should have done something about it. I'm trying to tell some folks right now that you didn't just happen to come across this message. There are some things you need to deal with right now. Because if you don't deal with them right now, you best believe you thought you had problems. Oh, the problems are going to get worse in the coming months, in the coming years. Some of you all been sitting too long. but I've been praying about it. Yeah, but God is saying it's time for you to make a move. Well, I thought that everything was going to be okay because I'm waiting for so-and-so, to call me back, or I'm waiting for such and such letter to come in the mail. The Lord is saying, you keep waiting and you're going to miss out on your blessing. You better go ahead on and make the phone call. You better go ahead on and be in that person's face a little while to find out what's going on with your money, or what's going on with your paperwork, or what's going on with your opportunity. Sometimes we got to follow up, you see. Now, if you already did all that, then maybe there's another avenue you need to take. So you need to pray about that. You see, there is too many things going on in the spiritual realm with the Christian. And Satan is getting the upper hand because the Christian doesn't want to step out and do anything. He has some folks so blinded to the point where they think that they're talking to Jesus when in fact they're talking to a demon that's telling them to do nothing and just believe. And we know that in the Bible, God always had his saints doing stuff. We're not talking about doing stuff so that you can get favor with God, that type of stuff, because that's false teaching. We're not talking about that type of stuff. We're talking about doing according to the will of God, getting down there and doing the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. You see, putting some effort in. Not sitting back there procrastinating, especially when you know you got problems, especially when you know you got folks that are enemies. They're not friends. And you sitting up there and you're just allowing stuff to go on. Oh, no, wait a minute. I heard X, Y, and Z. Let me investigate. Let me find out. Oh, okay. So-and-so plans on doing this. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. You see, you're not going to be a problem, devil, for me. You got to start speaking truth, start speaking out, start saying what needs to be said in Jesus' name. For those of you all who are called to do that. Now, some of you all, you've been speaking out too much, and that's the problem. You got to learn how to be quiet and allow God to go ahead on and do what he needs to do. Download some more information for you so that you can be able to fight the next battle. Sit back a while and collect your thoughts, collect the energy that you need to be able to fight the next battle. But some folks, they're not doing anything. They're lazy. I'm hearing in the spirit, they're just lazy. They're lazy when it comes to the relationship. They go to the Lord and say, I want this, I want that. Okay, well, what are you willing to do? I'm not real willing to do too much of anything. I just want her to go ahead on and, be right for me. I mean, what? Be right for you? What you mean be right? Well, I just want her to be that helpmate. I want her to, step up to the plate. I want her to, comfort me. And I want her to do this. Well, what are you doing for her other than having an attitude, other than being angry? Well, that's why she's leaving. That's why she's making plans. That's why the man is saying, I'm tired of this. I don't want to be around this no more. Because nobody is willing to do anything. Procrastinating on the problems. I thought we were supposed to deal with this issue like 2 years ago. Now it's 5 years ago. I thought we were supposed to deal with this issue like 8 years ago. I don't care if it's domestic violence or it's another woman or it's illness. Somebody needs to do something. What about those that are sitting at work that the boss says over and over again, I need you to help me out with this. I need you to come up with some ideas, staff. I need you to, step up to the plate. And it's been what? How long you been there? And still nobody's stepping up to the plate? Well, I thought so-and-so was going to handle that. Bosses don't want to hear that. Business owners don't want to hear you thought so-and-so. What was wrong with you? If you got the skill level to do it, what was wrong with you handling the issue? And then folks get mad when they get written up, you see. Or what about those that are in families and they got all this drama going on, right? And somebody says, well, I hope so-and-so deals with that issue because you know what? I'm not trying to go over there and blah, blah, blah. Well, why are you trying to put that on somebody else when it's in your power that you could pick up the phone? When it's in your power that you could be able to get in a car and help somebody out? When it's in your power that you could be able to take your money and do what's right with it other than spend it up on silly stuff? When somebody is saying, I need you to pay me back. Oh, I'm hitting home with some of you all. Because you know what you do and you know that people are telling you to do certain things, but you keep saying, I'm going to pray about it. No, when it's something that you know you're supposed to do, you don't need to pray about it. You need to just go ahead on and do it. procrastinating on the problems. You see, procrastinating on the problems is going to get you in trouble with the Lord, because you could pray and then the Lord could say, you know, that curse that you said to reverse. Well, guess what? It's boomeranging. It's coming back on you. But why, Lord? Because I told you what you needed to do, but you didn't want to do it. You see, sometimes it's a chess game with some of our relatives, with our coworkers and so forth. And sometimes, yes, we're sitting back and we're waiting for them to make a move. Other times, though, it's our turn to make a move. And usually it's a move that's going to benefit us in the long run. We may not see it in the short run, but in the long run, it benefits us. Other times it's one of those moves where, guess what? We can't do anything. You're over in your domain. I'm over in my domain. We can't do anything. Other times it's the kind of move where we're going after the king. We're going after the king and it's going to be checkmate. Bottom line, you see. But in order to know what the strategy is or where you are in the game, you've got to be able to tune in to the one true God. You've got to be able to get into his word and allow him to order your steps, even in his word. Where in these scriptures can I find something related to what I'm going through? And he will do it if you keep going to that word. Oh, he'll, you know, some of you all, you know how it is. Sometimes you just happen to click on the right video at the right time. But procrastinating on the problems, I'm telling you, sooner or later it's going to catch up with you. Wonder why the relationship ain't acting right, huh? Wondering why the car ain't acting right? Wondering why the kids ain't acting right? I know I said a lot of ain'ts. Excuse my ain'ts, but hey, sometimes you got to meet the people where they are, even in conversation. You know that you have to handle your business. Bottom line. Bottom line. And until you get up out of that mindset that, well, I don't feel like doing something, until you can come up out of that mindset, you're going to continue to suffer. And you're going to continue to look at that phone and nobody is going to ring it. And you're going to continue to go into the hospital and nobody's going to come visit. And you're going to continue to go through all sorts of trials and tribulations. And you're going to wonder why all this stuff happened. And the Lord's going to remind you, remember when I told you to make that move? Well, remember when I told you to make that appointment? Remember when I told you to handle your business? Remember when I told you that your wife or your husband was talking about leaving you? Well, all of that's coming around now. And don't come crying to me because I told you what to do. Now you got to go through. You got to go through. Maybe we'll draw near to one another as a result. Or maybe we won't. Maybe I'll allow Satan to come on in there and mess with you a while, since you think you know so much. You see, our Father is a good God. He's a good Father. He's our Heavenly Father. He loves us so much that he will give us the signs, the wonders, the miracles, the everything that we need, if we just trust in him. But too often we don't. We trust in ourselves. We trust in men. We trust in women, you know, and then we end up being mad because they fail us. So I'm challenging you right now that whatever problem that you have, figure out how you're going to solve that problem. Whether somebody keeps coming at you, calling you about it, whether it's somebody that's out there on the street that got issue with you, whether it is somebody at work or in the church, wherever the problem is, come up with a solution. Even if you have to get a mediator involved, even if that means that you got to go see a lawyer, even if that means that you got to make yet another doctor appointment, even if that means that you got to sit down and break bread with somebody just to get certain things done. So be it. But don't wait in a matter where you know that God is calling you to deal with that matter. Don't do that. And don't come up with excuses and say that God got you waiting when you know God don't have you waiting. You don't feel like doing something. That's who got you waiting. So I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen. And I pray in Jesus' name that if none of this resonates with any of you all and you pretty much got everything straight, I pray that you'll share this message with someone who does need to hear it. Because you see, there's too many people out here that's looking for love in all the wrong places. There's too many people out here that's rushing relationships and so forth. And then they've got these issues that's lingering and they don't want to deal with them. I pray that they will just do what is right. And I pray that you will just encourage them to slow down, even though it does sound cliche, but they need to slow down because there's too many babies being born that parents don't want. There's too many STDs floating around here. There's too many people ripping and running and doing all sorts of stuff. We do need to warn our young people. We do need to warn some of the old ones too, that think that they're young. So I thank you so much for taking this time out to listen. And as always, to God be the glory.